Hey, this could be an uncomfortable fumble of the week, but I'm going to try not to let it be.
Okay.
Last college women's basketball season, Samaria, Caitlin Clark had the sport by the throat. Iowa women's basketball was must-see TV, and if they were in a town, it was packed out in that arena, okay? The fan investment into Caitlin followed her to the WNBA, and viewership numbers for her games were sky high. Her mere presence alone helped several teams break attendance records, and in some instances, teams chose to actually move games to larger venues to accommodate the fanfare of Caitlin coming to town. Coming into this season, the biggest name in women's college basketball is unquestionably Juju Watkins. The star from USC is the frontrunner for Player of the Year, and her team is on a very short list of programs with a legitimate shot to win a title. Juju's game is absolutely cold. Currently, she's averaging 21, 7, and 5, and I mean no intent to sexualize her at all when I say this, but she is also drop-dead gorgeous. But none of that has translated into the kind of excitement and fan investment that Caitlin had just a season ago. So listen up. In a Trojan home game in Juju's hometown of LA, a city with 4 million people, in an arena with 10,000 capacity, only 3,000 people showed up. Iowa's preseason games last year had more fans than that. Now, granted, I recognize that it is very early in the season, and their last 2 opponents were mid-majors, but it doesn't feel like the world and mainstream media has embraced her quite like it did Caitlin. And so my fumble of the week is going to Juju Watkins fans who only support her online via tweets. Samaria, my question for you is, why does it feel like Juju isn't moving the needle the same way that Caitlin did and does?
Okay. Ooh, that's tough. I'm hearing this for the first time, guys. I think for one, you got to remember that Caitlin Iowa went pretty far both years that she had this stardom. So obviously she lost to LSU in the championship game, and then she came back the next year and it was just crazy. She also had an antagonist, right?
Okay.
In Angel Reese when she was playing. And so I think that allowed, unfortunately, and I hate that allowed a lot of people to want to root for her. And so I don't think that Juju has that storyline. So maybe she can get it. I don't know. Like maybe, race played a factor in it too. I hate to go there, but I think that she just doesn't have that same storyline. Like everything lined up perfectly for Caitlin to be this all-American superstar. For one, she's always on SportsCenter because she's made some crazy shot. And for two, she lost in the championship game. Like I just mentioned, everybody remembers Angel, talking about the ring. And that is a perfect storyline for people to eat it up. You're going to be on one side or the other. And I also think that just her fans rose to the occasion and they came out of the woodwork. So I do agree that Juju's fans should get fumble of the week because they need to stand up too. But I think nationally, maybe that's the reason why she doesn't have the level of stardom like Caitlin Clark did.
Nationally, I can understand it. I wouldn't expect her to show up in Wisconsin and, for the fanfare to be what it was for Caitlin in Wisconsin. But in her city, in LA, I would expect more of a raucous turnout for her games, regardless of who she is playing against. And this is kind of why I always say, like, social media is not a real indicator of the real world, because it's a terrible barometer to measure how someone is actually impacting things, right? Because if you go online, you'll see fanfare and you'll see all of these things, but if it does not translate to actual butts and seats, if it does not actually translate to physical sales, then it's a farce. And sometimes in our community, we get so caught up in the bubble of what we see by our very curated algorithms that we think that what we are doing is of the utmost importance and is of the thing that the masses are aligned with. It's how the election last week was just decided, right? Like nobody, by and large, in our community foresaw the election going quite that way. But because we were in this curated bubble, we had no understanding of the true impact and effect of what Donald Trump had on the rest of this country. And so a lot of the conversation around Caitlin last year was that, she's not the only one. There's other people, and Juju's going to be able to drive the same kind of, and it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like that. And whiteness is so overwhelming. There's so many more white people in this country. And when they take an investment into somebody, they actually show up. And unfortunately, sometimes in our community, we do lip service and we do Twitter finger service, but we don't actually show up in a real meaningful way, in a way that is tangible, that creates tangible results for the person that we say that we love so much. Listen, I'm a fan. I love Juju. I see her sometimes around LA. I think she's spectacular. I think from a basketball standpoint, she's brilliant. She had a historical season last year. She'll probably have another one this year. Her team is phenomenal. They have some great transfers and some freshmen that are coming in. And I hope that she has all the success in the world. But there is something to be said about the fact that we are not showing up the way that we be saying online that we are. And that's all I gotta say. That's why the fans get the fumble of the week. You all let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Is there something to be said about the way that black fans are showing up or not showing up for Juju rather, which is very different than the way white fans did for Caitlyn? Let us know your thoughts about this in the comments section. I am really interested to hear your perspectives.